right, hey, what's going on there out there, everybody? What's happening? As you can see by the screenshot there, I'm not tripping so much on the isms. It's more about blood right theft and the system complex which compels compliance. Hi, I'm your host, Bob Morningside, otherwise known as Bobby Day, so on and so forth. But who I am shouldn't really be that much of a concern, but I am here today just to address some concepts that I've run across in my self-study, since I've had the time to devote to it and spend more time actually engrossed in study. Therefore, what I'm going to do is get into it in just momentarily, since
That's fire.
I know.
All right, I'm gonna go back and listen.
So we're going to get into it just in a moment here. I'm just trying to find my way around this particular app platform since it's now reconfigured. And I think I'm just about ready, really, because what I'm going to do is set up this other audio that I made earlier today that addresses some of the things that I want to speak on today. And what I want to start off speaking on is, well, knowing one's social standing here as it relates to, conducting your business every day, assuming your affairs out in public. Because once you step out of your own household, you're in the public, right? And you have to conduct yourself accordingly. And I just wanted to just kind of touch on some concepts and we are that we were once a protected class before in society prior to colonization, prior to the 13 colonies being founded on the eastern seaboard of this country. We were free, and we were able to govern ourselves without the involvement of a particular establishment structure. So those are the things I intend on touching on as soon as I get my notes straight and get everything squared away here. This day being we're almost to the end of another month. And I just want to touch on a few things as we actually we've started the autumn equinox, the fall. And along with that, there's going to be a ramping up in commercial processes. That meaning Halloween coming up, football season, Thanksgiving, and Christmas at the end of the year. And everything that goes along with that. Well, think of it from a commercial standpoint. Everything is rooted in commerce, including your freedoms and liberties that you think you have, but it's all embroiled and wrapped up in commerce. Things to consider: the United States Constitution of the United States, the Declaration of Independence, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But before I get into that, I'm going to play this first. So what I was saying, in the previous video about Revelations, I'm going to get to in a minute. What I want to clarify, though, is when I made reference to you saying something about black on black. So just wanted to clarify that. Also, you got hustled by. Let me go ahead and skip this up a little bit more, because this is actually an excerpt from a personal message that I was sending back and forth, some dialogue, and I actually start covering certain points I wanted to address here in this video. So, yeah. I just laugh. I mean, I'm sure they have in life, right? And you want grandpapa. Hold on a second. It's gone up since I last checked. All right, here we go, right about here. 10, 15 years, maybe more. Hold on a second. What's up these plagues? All right. But I'll get to this basic one here. Okay, the heading is, under the New International Version, the heading is Warning to Escape Babylon's Judgment. And verse 4 is, Then I heard another voice from heaven say, Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not share in any of her plagues. And that struck home with me big time, because when you obviously consider and think of what plagues, plural, that we have been subjected to in our lifetime, whether or not they were purposely caused or whether or not they were created in a lab, I'm not disputing that. I'm not debating that. I'm not disputing it. What I'm saying is that the mere presence of these plagues, that they were likely contrived, like they were likely made as instruments. And the plagues don't have to be biological in nature. They don't, or they could be manipulations of what's biological in nature. They don't have to be of nature. They could be totally fucking contrived. Right? So talk about contrivances, particular, aspect of study, if you would, or position in society called secured party creditor, SPC for short, secured party creditor, right? This is kind of a science, a sub-science that has been created over the past 10, 15 years, maybe more. And this has come forth from people that have made statements to the effect that, well, first of all, when you think of the fact that there is no money, that money is something that's totally created as fiction, legal fiction, by the way, which I'm going to touch on in just a moment. But first of all, let me pick up the U.S. debt clock, just to show some info on United States U.S. national debt clock in real time. So I'm going to pull this information up real quick, or whatever it feels like coming up. And it shows here that, it's gone up since I last checked, because the last time I checked, the U.S. national debt, I checked, I think sometime last year, it was at 28 trillion. Now it's at 30, I think that looks like trillion. It looks like 30 trillion, 916 billion, 707 million, 800, and it's ticking up. Now it's 900. It's ticking up, man. It's just ridiculous. Look at this. I don't know if you can see it. What I'm saying is the United States national debt is at 30 trillion. And we are actually in the last quarter.
So somehow, with that debt amount being so high, this country is going to have to make up that debt. And guess how they're going to do it? Yes. How they're already doing it. They're doing it to keep the flow going, because there is no money. There is no money. Money is created out of thin air. And what you think is money, it actually isn't.
We're going into the holiday season, so-called holiday season, the shopping season, right? So guess what? They're going to be promoting credit cards. They're going to be promoting shit that we need to shop. They convince us that we need these things, these objects, this material substance, right? And I'm going to lay this on you. Realizing that you are a character of legal fiction as a perpetual debtor, a debtor, not a creditor, of your estate. So you're a debtor, and the estate that I'm speaking of was gold and silver. But as a debtor, not a creditor of your estate that was stolen through instrumentation and processes in a way that's completely unconstitutional. Because see, prior to the 1933, when 1933 they created the Federal Reserve. Before that time, the only form of true payment for debts was in gold and silver coin. It wasn't in paper money. Either gold or silver coin, or certificates of exchange, where you exchange that gold and silver coin for a certificate. Okay? Straight across. Now, I mentioned something about the Constitution, right?
All right, so just for reference, just for reference, and Declaration of Independence. And the Constitution itself is actually a trust. It's actually a trust that was developed between the pre-existing confederations that were here before the colonies were established. But let's go to section 10 that I referenced. That's in Article 1 of the United States Constitution. Section 10 reads, "No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money," and coin I'm assuming would mean like it's a verbal tense of the word coin, "emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility." And that's the first paragraph out of, looks like 3. The first paragraph from Section 10, Article 1 of the United States Constitution. Okay? So, what I'm honing in on is the only thing that's considered a tender in payment of debts is gold and silver. Gold and silver coin. That is money. That is currency.
Doing is completely unconstitutional. What this whole process is completely unconstitutional.
The process of making paper money. If you look at your reserve note, the Federal Reserve, what it's called, of utility, which actually creates more debt. And you're in the position of being a perpetual debtor.
Attention to Article 1 of the said Constitution of the United States.
Yeah, I already read that to you right here live, but I was just getting ready to go over it in the pre-recording. So let me sift through this.
Which is your birth certificate name. Position of debtors as debtors. Accepting benefits and privileges, which places us in the United States jurisdiction, the United States corporate jurisdiction, the United States corporate jurisdiction. Corporate meaning dead, corp, dead. It's a dead person. It's not a live person, right? Because you're not treated as a live person throughout these processes. You operate under a straw man, which is your birth certificate name, that you agreed to utilize as surety against your estate. And those certificates are investments in the stock market.
So what I'm meaning to say is your birth certificate, because there's an index number that's listed on your birth certificate that ties you into basically being property. Those certificates are invested. Regardless of what you might hear or say, I've seen it documented. But regardless of what anyone might believe, you're an investment as a debtor. You're not in the position of being a creditor. So, hey, I'm going to start off with that for right now, because I'm looking at the time that went by here, and I'm realizing that, yes, I'm going to have to break down, actually go into definitions, legal definitions, actually from 2 different law dictionaries that I have here on hand. And even between now and the time I come back, I might even look under the Black's Law Dictionary, just to, throw out some references as we address these things. Because, well, something's come up. At first, what I was going to talk about was admiralty law and common law. But I think I'm going to hold off on that for right now because I still got some things to really learn about that and really consider as I bring forth some information just to help you think these things along, think these things through for yourselves. Because what I'm offering you, I'm not offering legal advice at all, just legal information about law and the way that I understand it myself as one man, and a thumbnail depiction that I'm offering here through this social media. So those of you who might even have questions or even comments that are constructive in nature that I could actually build from, that we could probably build from and have these conversations, because I'm thinking about actually forming a study group, you know, and going over these concepts and these ideas and these definitions and these terms and sharing them so we can share the knowledge and get some things figured out. Because this whole thing, everything I'm seeing is just a quagmire. I mean, from linguistics, from language, from the way words are used and utilized, from being able to comprehend the language and the verbiage and a lot of this legal information, a lot of these reference books. It's actually important. This is understanding, and you can't look up that word. You can look up that word all you want. Understanding. I don't believe it's in any dictionary, but understanding, so you can overstand everything. Because they want to keep you understanding beneath overstanding everything and having an overall picture of what things are. So anyway, I'm your host here today, just putting this together. I know it seemed kind of ramshod, but I'm going to get it together and I'm going to advance the information as I see fit. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I would really appreciate it if you would like it or even dislike it. At least the algorithm is moving, and feel free to share this if you'd like, or not, or at least come back. So we're going to wind down and wrap this up right at the 20-minute mark. Thank you so much. We'll see you again, hopefully sooner than later. Peace.